Hello students, welcome to Estkupara. This ninth biology class, lecture number 2nd of food production and management. Yesterday we learned something about how food is produced, how crop production takes place, what crop production is, what is management, and all these basic terms, manures, fertilizers, crop protection, weedicides, pesticides, these all we discussed in the yesterday's lecture. And now today is the very important lecture that is genetically modified crops, plants and animals. Crops, I have written against the crops, plants and animals both. Don't get confused, because when we rear animals on large scale, they are also called as crops. Large scale production of food is called as crop. That can be animal source of food or plant source of food. We will take here first some animal sources which are farmed, reared, and then the food is produced by for humans, for animals. You will see here, first there is fisheries. Fish are reared on large scale. Why they are reared in large scale? Why not in natural water bodies? They are present in natural bodies. Why they aren't kept there? Why they are reared? What is the need? There is a need because in the rearing conditions they are provided with high nutritious feeds, and that increase the food value, that increase the nutritive value of the fishes. All these steps are done to increase the nutritive value of these foods. For example, poultry is here. Where wild fowl are raised, wild chickens are raised. They are given the high nutritious fibers, and then chicken and eggs are produced with high nutritious values. High nutritious value means having high carbohydrates, high than normal, and high carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins, minerals in higher concentration. That's called as food value or nutritive value, having higher concentration of nutrients. And cattle farming is one of the important these areas in this animal husbandry, where these cattle are reared on large scale, and hybrid cattle with desired characters are produced for higher milk quantity and best meat quality. And why actually this cattle farming is needed here? Also the genetic manipulation concept applies. I will talk it later on when we will discuss the genetic manipulation. There we will take up this cattle farming. Cattle are also used in for labor work in fields, agricultural fields, in carting, etc. And the next is the beekeeping, the apiculture. Bees are cultured in various on large scale to produce honey on a large scale. And honey, you all know, that has a good nutritious value, higher nutritious value. Almost all vitamins, all minerals are present in honey. So this was the glimpse why there is a need for farming, for culturing, only because one reason is that to increase their food value. Now coming to genetic manipulation. What genetic manipulation means? This will be the new term for you people, or you have heard it. If you have heard about it, then that's good, you will understand it in a better way. You all know that every living organism is made up of cells. Every living organism is made of cells. Cell contains nucleus. Nucleus contains genes. Every organism is made and developed according to the genes present in that organism. Whatever our characters are, whatever our physical characters are, for example, we had eyes, we had face, we had nose, there are different genes which are responsible for these characters. There are 35,000, above 35,000 genes present in a single human. So likewise, plants are also life forms. They are also made up of cells. Their cells have also the nucleus, and their nucleus have genes for different characters. For example, plant has root. There are different genes for the development of roots. There are different genes for what type of roots are there. There are different genes for stem development. There are different genes for fruit development, and there are different genes for branch development. Now, what happens if there is plant 1? Remember, this is the concept of genetic manipulation. You will understand better by these diagrams. This is a plant 1. It has large fruits. It has high density. There are dense fruits on this plant. That means it has a good yield. Now, there is a next plant which has low density of fruits, and it has small fruits. That means its yield is not good, but this plant has a good yield. What we does in genetic manipulation, we take out the genes from this plant. Which genes we will take out? We will not take out the genes responsible for root formation or stem. No, we will take out the genes for large fruits, the genes which are responsible in this plant to develop fruits in high density, high quality, quantity, and which are responsible for development of large fruits. We will take up those genes from this plant, and what we will do, we will introduce these genes through there are different methods to introduce these genes in this plant, and we will introduce them in this plant. Look now, after introducing these genes in this plant, now it has two types of genes. First, there are its own genes, and there are different genes from next plant. That means it becomes a hybrid, where two different types of genomes are present, and the plant then grows according to both the genomes. It has high density, it has high fruit production, it has large fruits. That means it has a good yield. It is now called as a hybrid plant or a transgenic plant. Transgenic plant, because it has two types of genomes. It has now desired characters, it has large fruits, and it has high density. Likewise, in some plants disease resistant genes are introduced, which give them the capacity, which give them this disease resistance against diseases, and the higher yield genes are also introduced. This whole technique is called as genetic manipulation. This plant, its genome is manipulated. Manipulation means used and introduced in the next plant, and the desired characters are in front of you, like this plant. Same is the case with case with animals. For example, cattle farming. In cattle farming, two animals, female and male, with desired characters are taken, and then the product of fertilization, whatever will be the embryo, that becomes the hybrid embryo, that becomes the hybrid animal. And for example, high yield milk genes, long lactation periods, and good meat quality, those genes are introduced in these animals desired, and the desired product is obtained. This was all about the genetically modified crops, and with this we have completed the food production and management. This was how we can manage the crop production, how we can take care of the nutritive values of different foods we eat. I hope you have understood this concept. Have a great time.